Hi, everyone.
Hello.
Hi, welcome to checking out the YouTube version of Cinematic Autopsy. We've noticed a lot of you are watching and have not subscribed.
Yes.
So,
Please
it would,
subscribe.
yeah, before we begin, it would be wonderful if you guys could click on that little link right there, right, see where I'm pointing right there, and you'll notice that if you scroll down, you'll see subscribe. So subscribe to us, CL Squared Productions. You'll be able to see our videos, stuff.
We have lots of cool
our
content for you
trailers.
guys. You'll know everything
Yeah.
that we're up to in the
Exactly.
film world, whether we're talking about it or doing it.
Exactly. So let's give you 5 seconds to subscribe. All right, everyone. We'll see you guys soon. Hey, everyone. Welcome back to our endless October as we cover Wes Craven's Nightmare on Elm Street this week.
Yeah, when is October going to end? Just never.
October ends on October 31st on Halloween. Duh.
Oh, right. Duh.
Yeah. But since it is October,
Yes.
we are covering Nightmare on Elm Street. We're in our horror classics this week.
Yes, Charles swears he showed me, but I must have been so fucked up because I did not remember any of this movie while watching it again.
Well, and speaking of which, I am I'm trying to get rid of the fucking Michael Bay lens fucking flare. Hold on.
It's
Jesus
the overhead.
Christ. It's following me everywhere. Hold on.
It is following you.
There we go.
That's funny.
That's the child sack for Krampusnacht.
Oh my god. And that was Nightmare on Elm Street. Thank you everyone for tuning in.
Yes, but yes, I'm Charles D. Lincoln, and you are?
I'm Satan. No, I was going to change my name to Satan, but no, I'm Chelsea Lesage, and we're CL Squared Productions.
Yes.
And we dissect movies and make really cool real movies of our own.
Yep.
That's what we do.
So we're going to cover Nightmare on Elm Street this week, written and directed by Wes Craven, who did Last House on the Left. Interestingly enough, my dad had told me that he had been one of the people that Wes Craven had approached for Freddy.
Oh, no way.
And that, but well, the interesting thing is when I looked it up, apparently Wes Craven, when he wrote the script, didn't really know what he wanted Freddy to look like, so he literally approached 100 fucking actors that he knew.
Interesting.
Before finally settling on Robert Englund, because he didn't know what Freddy. So my dad had told me that he had approached him about it. My dad was not interested because my dad had already done Last House on the Left and didn't want to do horror anymore.
Yeah,
but I assume that means my dad was probably one of the 100 actors or so that he knew that he approached. I wonder, there were a couple names, but I wonder who all of the people were.
Who all the people were? Yeah.
Yeah.
That'd be really cool to find out.
The only other one I know is Kane Hodder, who played Jason. But which would have been very interesting. And Kane Hodder's a big dude.
Yeah, that would have been entirely different. I was gonna say, Robert Englund at that point, and your dad during Last House on the Left, they could look pretty similar. So I can see where that would have been really cool.
Yeah, what's interesting is apparently Freddy Krueger was named after Wes Craven's high school bully.
Wow. I wonder what that dude feels about it.
Yeah, that guy was actually named Fred Krueger. And in fact, Krug in Last House on the Left was also named after him.
Okay, all this makes sense.
Yeah, because I guess this guy just picked on Wes Craven fucking fiercely while he was in high school. So Wes Craven spent the rest of his career.
spent the rest of his career being like, fuck you, you know?
Yeah, I mean, like, that's exactly what you're supposed to do, right? I think that's brilliant. If you have the ability to do it, do it. I hope he never picked on anyone again. Maybe got hit by a bus. That'd be nice.
And apparently, also David Warner was also originally cast to be him, which seems completely different. Because like David Warner's like this like really like, you know, Shakespearean English actor. And I wonder, would he have had the accent? Would he have tried to speak American? Like, I can't even picture what David Warner's Freddy Krueger would have been like.
Yeah, no, it would have been definitely so different. Oh, you know what's funny too about this movie too, because we talk about sometimes how actors are just so big that you can't see them as anything. I still felt that way about Johnny Depp.
Yeah. You know, by the way, I want to actually give an apology to Johnny Depp, and not just because I shit on his bed and made him think that was Amber Heard, but
you've been waiting a long time to say that. I can tell you've been waiting a long time to say that.
You know, no, I want to give him an apology because for the longest time I've said that he was really awful in this fucking movie, because I watched it after not having seen it for like 10 years at one point, and I was like, oh my God, Johnny Depp is so bad in this movie. But now that I'm seeing this after having seen Carrie and having seen John Travolta's performance in Carrie, Johnny Depp is actually quite good for a beginning. He was not even an actor pretty much when he did this.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, he actually
it said introducing Johnny Depp. I was like, what?
Yeah, this was his very first role. And apparently what happened was he was actually accompanying Jackie Earle Haley to the audition.
Which one's that?
Jackie Earle Haley was not in the movie. He actually, in the remake, which we'll cover next week, is Freddy in that. But yeah, Jackie Earle Haley was just a friend of his, and he also was in RoboCop. He was the shitty cop who was picking on him for being a robot or whatever. But he was went to the audition for this, and he brought his friend Johnny Depp with him, and they liked Johnny Depp's look and asked him to audition, and he got the role.
Shit like that happens.
Yeah, you know.
Yeah, it does.
But yeah, what's also interesting is when they wrote the script, they were trying to shop it around for a little bit, and at one point Disney wanted to buy it, but they wanted him to tone it down to be a PG-13 script.
Yeah, that wouldn't have worked.
It would have been
drinking Windex.
Yes, I am totally drinking Windex. It's so I can spit it on people's windshields. There you go.
So you're just a helpful citizen.
Yes, I actually just discovered the Eric Andre show recently.
It's a great show.
Which I know everyone's been watching for years and years, but I only recently discovered it. And I kind of love how uncomfortable and horrible he is to all of his guests.
Yeah, he is. He does stuff that you would do on that show.
Oh, yeah, no, watching the show, I totally realized if you had given 20-year-old me a talk show, this is exactly what the talk show would have been.
That would have been a terrible idea for anyone to do.
It would have just been this exact fucking talk show. Like, I mean, with fucking, Lauren Conrad, when she fucking storms off set, and her agent tried to have him blacklisted in Hollywood because of how upset she was. Or like fucking apparently the interviews he does are like an hour long.
Yeah.
And then he edits them down to like a minute or two, like into really quick edits to just make everyone super uncomfortable and make it as weird as possible.
Mm-hmm. Well, that makes sense.
Yeah, and he'll do shit like just drink his actual piss while like talking to somebody.
Again, that's something that you would do.
I wouldn't drink my own. That'd be weird.
You'd drink theirs. Be like, you sure you don't have to go to the bathroom before we go live? Do you have to go to the bathroom before we go live? Are you sure you don't have to?
Yeah, no, that'd be a completely different show than what I would do. But yeah, so let's get into this. 32-day shoot, 500 gallons of fake blood. Because obviously Glenn's body has more blood than like 20 people.
Yeah, I was like, God, that man has a lot of blood in his fucking tiny little body.
Mm-hmm.
It
And
really does.
yeah, and also apparently the actor who played Rod was in the midst of a really, really bad heroin addiction while shooting this.
Oh, really?
Yeah, there's a scene where he's in prison and his eyes are all like red, and apparently everyone was like, "Oh my god, that's such a great performance." He said he was so fucked up on heroin he doesn't even remember shooting it.
Damn.
Yeah,
That's crazy. That reminds me of I was watching this video the other day of fucking what's his fucking name who played Bad Santa. You
Billy
know who I'm
Bob
talking.
Thornton.
Billy Bob Thornton, yeah, that he was apparently they asked because there's a scene in Bad Santa which I wasn't allowed to watch as a kid, but and haven't seen since. But there's a scene where he's like playing Santa at like a mall or like at a Macy's, and all the kids are
Yeah,
waiting to come up and greet him, and he's so. Billy Bob Thornton said that like all he ate that day in preparation for shooting, he started the day with like 3 shots of vodka, then had 2 glasses of red wine, then all this stuff, and he was so inebriated that he hardly even remembers that he was in a movie while he was shooting it.
oh my god. You know, like I don't know, I can't like have that sort of thing on my set, you know? Like
Yes.
it's you know, like you know, you and I have fired somebody because they were so drunk that they couldn't fucking stand, you know?
Yep.
You know, I remember you were furious with that. You were like, "Get her off my
I
set
was
before
so
I punch her in the fucking face." And, you know,
That's
and
exactly. That's a direct quote too.
yeah, no, and I've never in my life seen you be the violent one in any situation, and you were that,
Oh
you
yeah.
know. Normally, I am the one who like is ready to fucking, you know, get in fights, and you were.
Yeah, and I remember you were in the middle of fucking directing, and I was like, "No, you gotta just come here. You have to come here, Charles. I
Yeah,
don't care. You need to come and see this. She
yeah,
needs to go right now."
yeah.
Yeah.
So that was, but yeah, like I can't imagine. But you know, at least with this actor, apparently no one knew he was on heroin. Um,
Wow.
but yeah, apparently he was like going back to his trailer and shooting up between like shots and everything. So
Well, addiction's rough.
yeah, yeah. So we're gonna
Uh,
start with the New Line Cinema logo.
the new. We're gonna start with the New Line Cinema logo.
Yes, yes.
Yes, that shows up. I like how it's this weird little like half of the screen in like the
It
preparation of making the knife hands.
it feels like when you used to play like an NES game and they'd have cutscenes, but they would be like this tiny little box in like the top of the screen or whatever.
Yeah, I remember I had this one thought though. I was like, "Oh no, I hope the whole movie's not fucking like that." Like, you know.
No, this is not the Snyder cut of Justice League. Um,
Which I've still never seen. Thank God.
so we see a little yeah, then this is pre-burn Freddy, and he's basically making his glove.
But he
And
still looks like his hands are disgusting.
well, I mean, it's, you know, you're making that shit without gloves on, for fuck's sake. Like your hands would be all sweaty and dirty, and you know.
It's true. I mean, you're welding and stuff. You're supposed to wear gloves when you weld people. So you hear
Well,
heavy
that's why.
breathing, and I
That's how
wrote, he's
Freddy
making
got.
me-
I was gonna say, people say it's because of the parents, but really, it's because Freddy didn't wear gloves when he welded. That's why he
Yeah.
looks the way he does.
Yep, that's entirely it. No, it's definitely not the parents. But I wrote, he's making his knifey knife stabby stab hands. That's what I wrote.
Yeah. So I'm
That,
really
like,
I'm really curious, by the way, like, because watching this, I remember thinking to how different this movie is the very first time you watch it. And you said that you don't remember the first time you saw this. So, it's really fascinating, like the first time you see this, like the mystery of it. That you know that, like, well, the parents obviously know something, like what the fuck is going on here.
and the parents just get away with everything too. It's just
Yeah.
hilarious.
Yeah.
I always
Yeah.
think that's stuff. Well, like big thing that, now just watching it, I pretty much for the first time, I was like, you assume that, and I'm sure that they set it up like this on purpose, which I think is brilliant. You assume that Tina's the lead of the movie,
Hmm.
Yeah. So it was like when that kind of like I don't know. I was like, did Drew like when Drew Barrymore was in Scream? It reminded me of something like that.
Well, it
you
seems
know?
like Tina was the very first time that Wes Craven pulled that trick, and then he
Yeah.
pulled it again in Scream.
Yeah. Yeah. That's true. It's a very clever trick. So we see, so then we get the Nightmare on Elm Street logo, and there's like a stab through some sheets or some cloth, and it's very menacing. Yeah, no, I think so. Here's my other big thing for like for seeing it kind of for the first time. It was for the time period. I thought it was really fucking clever.
Hmm.
You know, like how they did some of the practical effects and stuff. I was like, that looks fucking awesome.
Yeah.
You know,
Well,
for
like
the
some,
time period.
yeah. Well, like some of the effects, like when she's going up the stairs and her feet are sinking into it, that's all pancake mix.
I figured I was like, that looks like Fluffernutter or something like that. It's
Yeah, it
pancake
was.
mix.
Yeah, it was pancake mix. Yeah. Um. So I mean, I love this movie. Also, this movie, like reading about the making of it, sounded so familiar. Like because this is a full on indie film. Um.
Yeah.
I mean, New Line Cinema was a studio, but New Line Cinema was only a distributor at this point. New Line Cinema had
Ah,
never actually made a movie before.
that's so
Um,
interesting.
and at one point, they had one investor in England who was going to put 40% of the budget, and then another like this originally only had a $700,000 budget.
Hmm.
And then someone else came in, and then they made it 1.5 million. But what
Well, they
what
definitely
event
got a return on their investment. That's for
yeah,
sure.
I mean there were actors in this that they actually like the character that Johnny Depp plays, Charlie Sheen, was actually the one who they wanted, but he wanted too much money.
That's so interesting. I mean, like,
So
kind of thank God in a way.
yeah. So but yeah, so what ended up happening was the investor who was going to do 40% dropped out. And they said
Oh,
they shot for 32 days straight, and they said there were about 2 weeks where they couldn't pay anybody and had to just keep convincing everyone not to quit
damn.
while they were figuring out how to pay for it. So,
That's so interesting. I mean, like, how do you wind up like actually shooting for 2 weeks without being able to afford like props and effects and stuff? You know,
yeah,
they
well,
must
the
have been
props
smart
and
and already had that stuff ahead of
yeah,
time.
well, yeah, I was gonna say, I mean, even we do that, like, where we have props and effects are usually the first thing we do before we shoot anything.
Yeah, but what if
Um,
something goes wrong, and you need to
yeah,
like the pancake mix didn't look right, so you have to get something else last minute and you can't afford to do that. That's like
yeah.
a fuck pay out of pocket, I guess.
But what's interesting here, and this is something that I think that you and I should think about in the future. One of the people who contributed were actually other production companies. So that
Interesting.
yeah, that's how they actually got from 700 to 1.1 million. Is
Mm.
other production companies actually were like, hey, we'll be part of this film too.
Well, that's smart.
Yeah, so that's how New Line were able to do that. So we go to Tina, and I loved it. I love how this fucking like water dripping from the ceiling,
Yeah,
and
we're in this weird like basement boiler room type
mhm.
thing. Yeah,
she's
and she
we're
looks really scared. She's running.
yeah, she is wearing the longest fucking nightgown that I've ever seen. Like this is. I remember like writing, I was like, did teenagers actually wear anything like that long to bed? Like, because I wasn't a teenager yet in 1984, but when I became one, like girls were just wearing like t-shirts and panties to bed. No one was wearing like a fucking nightgown that went down to their ankles. So
Well, I have nightgowns and stuff. I have nightgowns and stuff from the 40s and stuff, and those were even shorter than this.
mhm.
So that's really kind of surprising. Longest nightgown I've ever seen.
All right, I'm going to go and I'm gonna have to censor that part because that's a spoiler.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, it is.
Yeah, because we
Oh,
haven't revealed that.
fine. Just beep it.
Yeah, I'm gonna
Oh
have to
well,
beep
too
that.
bad.
Yeah, I
But
am gonna
that's the
beep that.
longest nightgown ever.
Yeah. So, but yeah, no, the boiler room that they shot in this, and like I've wanted a location like this for years. Like this is fucking just awesome.
Yeah, it is really awesome. I wonder how much of like the actual fog and like heat and then like the dripping water and the furnace and stuff, how much were actually active during that point versus things that they had to,
Hmm.
implement on that set.
What's really, and the other thing that I love about this, and it's one of those things that like you wouldn't know, and most people wouldn't know, but like they didn't during the advertisement campaign for this movie, they never showed Freddy's face in the commercials.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And
Interesting.
and you realize when you watch this, they don't show Freddy's face until like the second or third time that he shows up.
Oh.
Yeah, like they showed the knife in the commercial, they showed the knife glove, but they never showed his face.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, that's really clever.
Yeah.
That's clever. Clever
So
girl.
so there's babies crying, she's in front of a furnace, and then she wakes up and her mom asks if she's okay, and she has cuts in her nightgown, and her stepdad there or boyfriend or whatever the fuck her mom basically is there
It's
to
just
bone.
horny as shit.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
her mom's like, Tina, you got to cut your fingernails or stop that kind of dreaming.
I'm just like, how wide are this girl's fingernails? You look at the cuts and they're like 2 inches wide. I'm like, nobody's fingernails are that wide in order to do that.
You know.
Insanity.
Also, her mother is inexplicably Southern.
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense why.
You know, I mean, hey, people move places, but it's still weird for movie language, you know? Like, I mean, you know, you and I know people from the actual South, so it's not like it'd be weird, like in real life. But if we made a movie that takes place in Brooklyn and there's just a random character with a Southern accent,
yeah,
you know what I mean? It seems out of place, even though that happens 100% in real life with people just moving places.
I mean, I'd like only logical explanation I can think of is that she couldn't pull off not doing it.
You know,
Yeah,
maybe.
yeah.
So, here's where you hear the 1-2 Freddy's coming for you, or as I used to call it, this was my COVID song when washing my hands.
Aww.
Yeah, no, I used to do the entire like 1-2 Freddy's coming for you because someone discovered it's exactly like 20 seconds long.
That's amazing. And Charles has not washed his hands since.
Yeah, you know, I never wash them, especially after shitting on Johnny Depp's bed. So, Johnny Depp is, you know, I'm sorry, Amber, that he blamed you for it.
Good to take responsibility for your own actions.
Well, you know, eventually. So, and I love how everyone in, like, even the kids, like, already know this jump rope song.
Yeah. So, like, this is obviously, it shows that this is not the first time that Freddy's haunted children.
Well,
maybe it was passed down from the parents, like, it was passed down from the kids, you know.
Well, in real life, he was, he had, you know, stalked children before.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So the people, like, the children who survived that during that part of, like, when he was actually alive, maybe they came up with that.
What's interesting is that one of the there's a whole bunch of deleted scenes that have actually only ever been released once on like the Laserdisc, and they've never been released on anything else. I've never seen any of them. But apparently one of them reveals that Nancy had an older sister that Freddy actually killed.
Oh.
Yeah, and that's one of the reasons why her parents were among the group chasing Freddy down.
And getting away with it.
Yeah.
Naturally.
You know. Well, I mean, yeah, you know, I mean, if you know what though, I mean, really in a lot of places like that, you couldn't get away with it now because of the internet and shit.
Yeah.
But before that, come on, you know that sort of shit happened all the fucking time in America. You know.
It's true.
Fucking, you know, the guy gets away on a technicality and fucking, you know, people take the law into their own hands, you know.
This is a citizen's arrest. Can you still do that?
I'm really not going to go into the fucking QAnon assholes right now because no, one of them, like, I know was recently like arrested for trying to like do a citizen's arrest on Joe Biden or something like that, and I'm just like,
oh Jesus Christ.
Yeah, exactly, and I'm like, I'm not going to get into that.
I am not getting into that.
Yeah, so we meet at this point we meet Glenn, we meet Nancy. And we know that they've all had bad dreams. And
yes.
Rod appears, and Rod says he woke up with a boner. with Tina's name on it, and I love that Tina says, "But there's 4 letters in my name. How did you have enough room?"
I know. I love that too. I love that so much. That was clever. That was really. I'm trying to find my spot. Bert, you're distracting me. The dogs are just too cute. Sorry, they don't want me to do this. I gotta go.
Well, we got right now we have very clean cut pre-pirate Johnny Depp.
Pre-pirate. I like that. Pre-pirate.
Marking his territory with a lot of PDA.
Hey, Uncle Charles, say hi.
Hello.
Say hello. You love you. You're a star.
Hello, Night.
Oh, stinky breath. Okay. Oh. My God. Okay. Yes.
So, basically at this point, Tina thinks maybe it could be a sign that it's an earthquake, that there's an earthquake coming.
I thought that was hilarious. I thought that was hilarious. There's big earthquake, things get weird just before, and I'm like, it kind of makes sense. It's like, and we blame shit on the full moon and stuff. I'm like, that kind of makes sense. It does.
So here's the weird thing: is that this? I mean, I got the impression this film's supposed to take place in like the Midwest.
Mm-hmm.
But there's a scene that is so clearly in LA when they're on the bridge and there's palm trees all over, and
yeah, I was like the only way that I noticed that too, and I was like, the only way that this is that they think they could get away with this is if they could explain like they're at some weird retirement community, beautiful place that put palm trees into it.
Palm trees from like Florida or California.
Yes. Hey, I got a bunch of palm trees in my apartment, but because
it's the one scene where I'm like, wait a minute, this is clearly not anywhere near. I mean, I knew they shot the whole movie in California, but I assume it's supposed to take place in the Midwest. At least that's the impression I got from it. Especially
interesting that they didn't actually say.
Especially because, I think it's Illinois. That later movies reveal that it's Illinois.
Oh, okay, that makes sense.
Because I remember commenting on how funny it was that someone was able to drive in Freddy vs. Jason, how they're able to drive from New Jersey to Illinois in only like 3 hours or something like that.
That's funny. Oh, did you know, little fun fact, that Freddy vs. Jason is the first Freddy or Jason movie I ever saw.
Mm-hmm. You mentioned that when you and I did Don's podcast.
Oh, I did? Yeah, isn't that it's so weird though.
Yeah, well, now you see a little bit of where Freddy came from.
Fuck, now I want to watch Freddy vs. Jason again. Did I like it? I don't even remember.
I love it, but and the other thing I want to say, by the way, out of the Nightmare on Elm Street movies, 3 is the best one.
Okay.
Yeah, 3 is the best one. 2 is one of those ones that like it's become huge with the gay community.
Okay.
Because the lead character in it is now he's kind of a gay icon. And there was so much like homoeroticism in the second one. There's
interesting.
Yeah, it's actually kind of considered like a lot of the fans hate part 2. Part 2 tried to do something very different than part 1. And I don't think it works, honestly. Mm-hmm. But it's still, and then part 3 is where you get kind of more wisecracking Freddy that you saw later on. That's where he kind of starts doing that.
What a fun fucking role to play.
Oh yeah.
Like that's like it reminded me, certain things. I was like, it's like the Nameless, like getting to play the Nameless, It's like the fuck kind of fucked up shit is this? How fun is that for an actor?
Well, yeah, I mean, it's one of the things I've said for the longest time that like me, like everything I write is pretty much like an original for the most part, but one of my like dream projects would be a Nightmare on Elm Street sequel.
Yeah.
I could do so fucking much with Nightmare on Elm Street.
Yes, you could.
At Nightmare on Elm Street, and then the other one is my guilty pleasure that everyone's always like, oh my God, really? You would write one of those? But yes, I would 100% write a Final Destination film.
Oh, you'd be so good at that. I want to like off air. I want to hear about your ideas so nobody steals them.
I love the Final Destination movies way more than anyone would ever think I would.
Yeah, no, actually, I feel like, I don't know if you told me that before, but this is kind of coming as a shock to me right now, honestly.
Yeah.
Because I love them,
Yeah. Yeah,
It doesn't
and I
seem
would
like a Charles D. Lincoln like love
no,
thing.
not at all. And that's why it would be amazing to write one. To because
Mhm.
I've seen every single Final Destination film, and I would like go super nuts into the canon and like just
I remember like, being so young when like Final Destination 3 came out. That was the first one I saw. And the tanning beds, the tanning bed scene, like I was like, I think I need to accept that I'm just always going to be really, really white and I will never go to a tanning salon in my life. And I never have because of that movie.
Well, who else? I mean, I don't think there's a person on earth who doesn't get nervous now if they're on the fucking highway and there's the fucking
There's
truck
logs.
with the
Yeah.
logs after part two.
That literally. So I've driven already like 6 hours today, and and there was a truck with logs on the highway, and I was like, I'm getting the fuck out of here right now.
Exactly.
It's just instinctual. And then I'm watching this TV show. After we come back from the break, I'll load exactly what it was, but you'd find it fucking hilarious, Charles. There's like no way you can't just think it's the best thing on the planet. It's like a true crime thing. That's a cop show, but everyone's naked when they get arrested, and it's really funny. It's like all this. I'll find out on the break. I'll figure out what the name of it is. But
it's a true crime show.
It's a cop show. It's a true crime cop
Yeah.
show, and like everyone just winds up being arrested. So there's this woman who stole the truck. Well, you don't know it's a woman, but this guy is just like, my truck just got stolen. There's a shit ton of loaded weapons on it. So the police are like, oh fuck, okay. There's this huge chase on the highway, and it turns out that it's a woman who stole this truck, and she's purposefully like, when the cops are on her tail, like purposefully swerving so that shit flies off the flatbed on the back.
Oh my god!
like a mini fridge, There was like a couple guns, like just flying off to like try and divert them. And when they finally catch up to her, it's this interesting looking like middle-aged woman who's obviously high on something, and she's just completely nude with a t-shirt on her head going like
Oh god.
And the whole series is just shit like that. And I'm like,
is that on Max?
Yes, it's on Max.
Oh yeah, it's like Arrested Naked or something like that.
Yeah,
I saw. Yeah. I haven't watched it, but I saw that was on the list of things. Yeah.
Yeah, it's so good.
Yeah.
It's so good.
Yeah, I'll check out an episode and see. Maybe that's where they got some of the sound effects when Johnny Depp is trying to call his mom and lie about what's.
See, I thought that was hilarious writing. Like that was great. That was like great delivery by the actors.
Yeah,
I thought that was so fucking funny.
Because teenagers do that shit.
Oh, I've done that shit. I mean, I didn't do anything wrong as a teenager. I was probably like 26 when I started trying to do stupid shit like that. But, instead of being like, Mom, I live in New York, you can't like come save me from whatever I'm doing. You can't help me anyway. But no, it's the slew of different sound effects.
Yeah, because he's supposed to be by the airport, but then like there's like gunfire and a dog fight
and like just people crashing on the highway and shit.
Yeah, exactly. And he's like, no, don't. I'll call the police, Mom. Don't worry about it.
It's just the neighbors. Don't worry, Mom. I'll call the police. Don't worry.
Yeah,
everything's gonna be fine.
Yeah, and Nancy and Tina are just cracking the fuck up while this is going on.
It's so funny. It is literally, I mean, like, I think that other than, like, being impressed with Robert Englund's, like, crazy Freddy witticisms, that's the funniest part of this movie. Hands down. I think it's just hilarious. That and the Tina and the Dick thing.
Yeah.
It's very clever.
Yeah.
Very clever.
Yeah, no, like I said, I love this movie a whole lot. So Nancy and Tina are talking about Freddy, and that's when Nancy kind of notices that they had the same person in her dream too. With the dirty red sweater. They talk about the noise his finger knives made, and which then Glenn says it's impossible, but they hear a noise outside. And so they all hide, and I love them hiding behind Johnny Depp as he goes to check it out too.
That's cute. Yeah, so he runs outside and he says, I'm gonna punch your ugly lights out, whoever you are. And then he calls for a cat, which I think is funny. And then instead of, he says, chow chow chow, and I'm like, what animal says chow chow chow?
No, that was from a commercial in the 80s for cat food.
Oh, it was.
Yeah, yeah.
That's interesting.
I think it was from Meow Mix.
Well, that's meow meow meow.
Yeah, but it would also be like there would be a response
chow?
of there would be a response of chow 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 from it afterwards because it was like there was like a dancing cat in the commercial.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Bad Chelsea. I just did a cat commercial and I didn't even know that. I'm like, what animal says chow chow chow?
Yeah, but this was like a 40-year-old cat commercial, so it's not like,
Yeah. How dare I not do my research?
Yeah. One thing I really want to say is I really like how much physical touching there is between Nancy and Glenn.
Mm-hmm.
Like you really don't see that in a lot of relationships on screen.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of relationships on screen, they say they're the boyfriend, maybe they'll have a sex scene or they'll kiss or something like that. But here, they're holding each other's hands, they're touching each other's hip. Like,
yeah,
it's really convincing that there's a relationship between them because of those extra touches.
Yep. 100%. Yep.
Yeah. So Rod, who is like, I guess, the town bad boy or whatever, because he has a leather jacket and a switchblade.
Oh my God. Fucking Rod.
Yeah.
So he's in the bushes and he comes out and he came to make up with Tina.
Yeah, which is really funny, by the way, because he's like a Hollywood bad boy. Like,
which is not a bad boy. He just might be doing heroin and no one knows about it.
Yeah, well, because the funny thing is he's a Hollywood bad boy, because I remember even as a kid thinking Rod was way more clean cut than any of me and my friends who were actually the fucking like troublemakers in our fucking neighborhood.
Right.
Rod was so clean. Like, we would have looked at Rod and thought he was an undercover cop or something.
Oh, definitely.
Because he was just so like there was a guy who looked just like that in our high school. And I remember the first question he ever asked me was where I could buy weed.
And you were like, I hate you.
No, I just go back to Jump Street narc and I walked away.
Wasn't Johnny Depp in Jump Street too?
Yes. That was his role after this.
Yes. Okay. So this obviously was before that.
Yeah. But, I mean, that's the thing is like, I love like the Hollywood bad boy is like, it's such a look that like no one in real life ever fucking pulled. No one had like the perfectly coiffed fucking, gelled hair.
Well, I'm not going to talk about it I'm not going to talk about it on air, but like there's one person who I know who I'm sure I've talked to you about who is out in LA who literally looks exactly like Rod, but right now. And I'm like, oh no.
Yeah.
Oh no.
Yeah, exactly. So Rod wants to go and make up with Tina, and and Rod pulls a knife out on Glenn. And it's like, haha, you see how scared he was? Ha ha ha.
Bullies should not exist. Bullies exist because of insecurity. Work on yourself, go to therapy. Bullies should not exist. That's how I feel.
Well, so Rod and Tina are down to fuck. And so they go to their bed. And Johnny
they also talk about they go to their mom, go to her mom's bed. And mind you, also bed, she's 15. She is 15.
Yep. This is the 80s.
She is a fifth fucking teen.
And I guarantee you Rod is older than 15.
Oh yeah. He got like held back in high school a couple years or something.
Yeah, Rod is probably a super senior.
He's a super senior. We love super seniors.
Yeah.
You're doing the best you can. Maybe hide the switchblade and you'll be fine.
I had to actually, when I was 15, I convinced my girlfriend at the time that I was a super senior. Like that I was like an ultra senior or something, that I was still in like 10th grade, but I was 18.
Really?
Yes, because girls didn't want to date younger guys, so I had to convince her I was older.
Oh, okay. But it was like, please tell me you didn't idolize these people, Charles, please.
No, and that to me is the funniest thing. And I pointed this out to her, like, after I told her the truth. I'm like, isn't it funny that you would have preferred I just be really dumb than be like 15 years old?
Yes.
Yeah, no, I convinced her I was 17 when I was 15. Yeah.
That's okay.
And then I had just gotten left back twice. Yeah.
Dang.
And she
Crazy
was
as
perfectly fine with me being dumb enough that I got left back twice.
Okay, well, you know what? To each their own. That was her type,
Yeah, you know.
and she left you when she found out.
No, I'm not going to go into how our relationship ended, but you know,
Freddie got her.
Yes, that's exactly what happened. So, you know, Glenn is very horny too, but Nancy doesn't want to because they're there for Tina.
Yes. Well, no, she seems to have some morality thing. Like she doesn't want to have sex before marriage, and he seems to be like reluctant towards that, but still respectful.
Yeah. Well, he's like,
You know?
morality sucks, but
Yeah.
and I'll tell you, if you are ever stuck where you're listening to two people fuck in the next room and you don't really want to hear it, the Benny Hill theme. The Benny Hill theme is
What?
fucking awesome.
Okay.
Play it.
I also could not believe how how loud these teenagers were, and I was like, this is like giving me some fucking, I don't know. Like I was like, that's just not realistic.
I've been that loud.
Well, no, but like how fake it sounded. Like she sounded
Well,
fake.
cause it's not real sex. It's fucking actors in like a soundstage, you know, doing ADR of you know.
But it sounded yucky. I didn't like it. I didn't
You
like
know.
it. I have a very loud neighbor right now, like standing right outside my apartment. If it picks up, just a heads up, I apologize. But
Yeah.
I'm not gonna like yell at them.
So and she's like, I knew there was something I liked about you, and she's like, Jungle Man fixed Jane.
Jungle Man fix Jane. I thought that was hilarious.
You know.
I did. And
so
he says, no more fights, good.
And no
Like,
more
I bet they were
nightmares
all
for either of us.
For either of us. And wait, did you have one? Guys can have
Mhm.
nightmares too, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Then we hear some pebbles on the window. Which is, I'm like, wait, the boyfriend's there. He's not standing outside with like a boombox or something. Who the fuck's throwing pebbles on the fucking window?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, that's way ahead. That's
Oh, is it?
Yeah. Because that's before they go back to sleep.
I am going to, you keep talking, I'm going to go yell at my neighbor really quick because they're very loud.
Okay.
Okay.
Right.
I don't want it to pick up. Well, give me a second. Keep talking.
Okay. So at this point we see Nancy. Nancy is in bed and the crucifix falls off the wall. Which is interesting because of the whole, 5-6 grab your crucifix and all that. But I don't think that actually just the power of Jesus has ever been enough to actually stop Freddy. But
hello, I'm back.
Yeah, hi. Yeah, I was just talking about how I don't think the power of Jesus is really enough to stop Freddy. Yet, the song does say "grab your crucifix," and he did seem to stop bothering Nancy when she woke up. But it didn't really do much throughout the rest of the film. The crucifix, it was kind of just like there.
No, it was like it played like you thought it could be maybe something that you use it as a trope in like a demon movie or something.
Yeah.
And then I was like, wait, this doesn't actually have, like, y'all are just religious. It doesn't fix or make Freddy go away at all.
Yeah. Yeah. So at this point, Rod and Tina, they roll over and go to sleep. And then that's when she's woken up by someone throwing rocks at the window and calling her name.
Oh, so they go to sleep.
Yes.
Yes, he's going, Tina.
Yeah. And that's also when Freddy's reaching through the walls, and I've always loved that effect. Like
Oh my god, yeah, no, that was one of my favorites.
Yeah. I wanted to recreate that in Bishop's Cove, but it was too expensive.
Really? I wonder how they did it.
I know how they did it. It's just you need like literally like fucking several dozen yards of latex to do it. But I had when we have her going through the hallway, I had wanted to do that, but then remember I had tape measure when I first went to Stag and Lion where we shot.
Mm-hmm.
That's why, because I was seeing how much of that we would have needed, and then it would have been like an extra $600 or something.
Oh, that's crazy.
So that's why we didn't do it. But originally, that's what I wanted to do. And I wanted to have, when she's going through the hall, I wanted to have people fucking reaching for her and shit.
That'd be really cool.
It would have
Yeah.
been, but it would have been way too expensive.
Yeah, no,
But
fuck that. That's
Yeah.
okay. You don't need the movie's terrifying enough as it is.
Yeah.
In
But
my
you know,
personal opinion.
but it's one of those things that, like, yeah, I love that effect, and I've always loved that effect. It's also used in Videodrome when they have a hand reaching through the TV with a gun. And it's just such an awesome effect, and I love that they used it, like with him coming through the fucking wall above her and shit.
Interesting. I don't think I've seen that.
You haven't
I've
seen
seen-
Videodrome?
No, I don't think so.
You haven't seen it with me, yeah.
Then I probably wouldn't have seen it.
yeah, you haven't seen it. One day we'll watch it.
Okay.
So Tina's now going into the backyard to check out who is calling her name. And the garbage can lid rolls over because it turns out it was Io Shirai actually calling her. But
It was Io Shirai.
Who then jumps
And
on
then
her
it was
from-
also Oscar the Grouch.
yeah, who jumps on her from on top of the roof with the garbage pail on her.
Yes.
But yeah, no,
Yes.
Freddy's there with really long arms, and we still don't really see his face until she says, "Oh God," and he says, "This is God," and that's when you first see his face.
Yes, I love that. I love that.
Yeah.
This is God. That like got me. I had also like the other night I just watched 30 Days of Night for the first time in a long time, and I was thinking about, I forget the actor's name who plays like the lead vampire in that, but he goes, God, no God. And I was
Danny Huston, or Houston, I don't know, Huston. I'm not sure how that's pronounced.
I
but
love
yeah.
that movie.
Yeah.
I really love that movie. But I was like, they took this from fucking Nightmare on Elm Street.
So, and I love the little effects here when she's running for him, like him popping out from behind that little like thin tree.
Oh yeah, the little thin tree thing, that was everything.
Yeah. Or
I
when he
love
cuts
that a
he
lot.
starts cutting his fingers off and Ecto Cooler is popping out.
Is
You
that
know.
what it is? I was like, what the fuck
But
is that green goo?
I don't know what it is, but that's what it looks like.
Yes. No, look, it looked like flubber coming out of his fingers.
Yeah. And when she pulls his face off and he's fucking just it's the
It's the
skull,
skeleton.
and he starts laughing.
No, I loved all of this. Again, this whole thing, I was like, God, for the 80s, this was such a great, they did such a great job.
And all that's practical too. It was like just fucking
Yeah. The practical
know.
effects are astounding in this. They really are.
Mm-hmm.
They really
So,
are.
Yeah, so she's calling for Rod, and she's being slashed up. I love also when they're carrying her like where she's being like killed and she's going up the wall and then up the ceiling.
Oh yeah, no, that was great. I'm like, this is some fucking Exorcist shit. But that was just absolutely great. Like, I can't imagine being Rod in that scenario.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like she's just dragged all over the fucking place, being bloodied up, and there's no way to fucking like explain that to anyone, no matter how hard Rod tries throughout the movie. There's no way to actually logically explain that.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, the interesting thing about it is that like I've always tried to think of it from the perspective of like the police and the parents. Like
Yeah.
So is Rod so strong that not only was he killing her, but he was literally dragging her along the ceiling? Like, what, you know what I mean? Like, the forensic evidence must be like, wait a minute, what the fuck did this kid do?
Yeah. Like, how did he do that? Like, did he literally I imagine like him jumping on the bed and pretending it's a trampoline, and just like her body just goes boom, boom up against the
Yeah, because
boom.
it looked like a higher, like a 10-foot, 15-foot ceiling or something like that. So how exactly did he have like a ladder with like wheels on it as he was like dragging her through like the ceiling or whatever?
He's like,
Like-
oh, this would be funny.
Yeah, like I've always tried to imagine like from the forensic perspective when you're arresting Rod, because obviously you'd have to arrest him because he was in the room with her.
Yeah, and there's no evidence of a break-in or
Yeah,
anything like that.
There's no evidence of a break-in. He has her blood all over him.
Yeah.
You know, and the two witnesses say that he was the only person in the room with her.
I just wish that, like, he could have done something. Continue, yes.
But the actual forensic evidence would be like, wait a minute, how the fuck did that happen? And he only has one knife. How did he make four in the same places? You know what I mean? Like, forensically, it doesn't hold up.
Well, I mean, we
But
probably didn't have DNA and shit from that time where you can like see that his DNA is not in that corner of the ceiling. You
yeah.
know?
Well, who knows? I mean, I don't know if he pulls
Oh
out,
God.
maybe his DNA is all over the ceiling. But
Charles, no. No.
so you know, I also love how he's a musician type and arrested for drugs and brawling because he's
I'm like,
yeah,
that kid can't play an instrument.
that's a Hollywood bad boy. You know, I don't know.
Can't play
Maybe
music.
maybe he's a drummer. So
You can play the triangle.
yeah, so we meet Donald, who's the lieutenant. Actually, I kept thinking he's not. It's so weird too. When most people's dad is a cop in a film, they're usually the sheriff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
This is the first
but
time he's actually like another rank.
He's another rank. The sheriff you never even fucking meet in this movie.
Yeah.
Like, what the
Yeah.
fuck is he doing?
Mhm.
He's also fucking
But-
Tina, Nancy's mom.
putting his thumb up his butt and spinning. That's what he does in his office all day long in his little swivel chair,
Mhm.
just spinning. But yeah, you know, Donald, her father, wants to know what she was doing, shacking up with 3 other kids, and a lunatic, and even her mother attacks her when she was like, their fights weren't that serious, and her mom's like, maybe you don't think murder is serious.
Yeah, it's like this fucking. It's so you already go into like the trope that the parents just don't believe their children. But you should, parents, you should just believe your children.
Parents
Like-
sometimes, kids sometimes parents just don't understand.
Oh God, just don't understand. It's gonna be stuck in my head for forever. I don't know where I am now. Thanks, Charles. Fuck me up. Fucking no, it's stuck in my head now.
Mm.
No.
So,
no.
she didn't want to sleep alone because she's been having nightmares that someone was trying to kill her. And they showed Tina's arm hanging from the girth. Like I talked about last week about how, okay, they'll be real descriptive about shit
Yeah.
on the news in the 80s. I don't think they would have shown just a fucking dead arm hanging out on a gurney, though.
No.
I never recall seeing that growing up.
And you were like, and I was there for several crime scenes.
You know. So, and her mom doesn't want Nancy to go to school because obviously her parents don't believe in education.
Obviously.
know.
And she's just like, I'm gonna go nuts if I just fucking stay here, you know. So it makes
Yeah.
sense. I'd probably want to go to school too, especially if there's someone who would fucking kill me if I'm just if I fall asleep, and I
Yeah.
like sleep.
So, you know, she says she'll sleep in study hall and come home right after. So Tina goes out. She sees this well-dressed man in the bushes, who I described as Michael Myers' very well-dressed brother.
See, okay, so who the fuck was that?
I don't know. It's never explained at any point in the movie.
I was like, is that how Fred Krueger used to dress? Like, what the fuck is that? Like,
No,
I don't-
he used to dress in the red and green sweater with the hat.
Yeah, yeah, okay, because I'd forgotten about that, but I wrote like, okay, how does this tie in? It doesn't.
Yeah, it's been established that Freddy Krueger. By the way, since you mentioned Freddy vs. Jason, do you know what one of the fucking original script ideas for Freddy vs. Jason had that was not in the movie?
No.
That a teenage Freddy Krueger was one of the counselors when Jason drowned.
Interesting.
They that's not in the final movie, but in one of the early versions of the script, that was in there.
See, I don't hate that.
Yeah.
I kind of think that's kind of cool.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
that was that was in there. In fact, they apparently were gonna it had some like a flashback, and there was some like teenager who looked like a young Robert Englund, with like a fucking like red and green like, you know, camp counselor shirt or whatever, because I guess he only wears those colors his whole life or whatever.
His whole life, he's like, I love Christmas.
You know, so you know, but yeah, so that was one of the things there. But yeah, no, Freddy
Interesting.
Krueger just looked like Freddy's Dead establishes what he looked like as a person,
Okay.
and he just looks like Robert Englund, just looks like Robert Englund without makeup.
Okay.
Yeah,
Cool. Without all the maggots, such a shame.
yeah. So well, you know, only in his feet, because he had he had really bad corns. So
Oh God. I was just thinking about how I was hungry. I'm not hungry anymore.
There you go. There you go. So Rod grabs Nancy, pulls her into the bushes, and her dad has obviously been following her because it would make sense that Rod, would try to
Run.
Oh my God.
Try to
cover
run.
this because I'm burping a lot.
Cover this because I'm burping a lot. So yeah, so Rod's just like in the bushes, and he's obviously, yeah, of course he's terrified. I just think my immediate thought is like, you didn't leave town, you fucking dumbass. Like, you should try and get the fuck out of town. She asked, like, he said they're gonna kill me for sure, and she asked, did you do it? He said he never touched her or somebody else there. And Lieutenant Dan.
Donald.
I know, but Lieutenant Dan from Forrest Gump. Sorry, it's funny. He's there and is just like, step away from her son, and he winds up getting caught. And Nancy feels like she had just, you used me, Dad.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Dad also was just like, why didn't you just stay home? And they find out that Rod has the switchblade, and she just like walks off. Yeah.
Well, I mean, there's not really much else she could do at that point, but
That's true.
So now we go to horror icon Lin Shaye, who is known for just so many fucking movies as the teacher here.
Yes.
It's being a lesson about Hamlet.
Oh yeah. Which I was like, Shakespeare brain, I was just like, I agree with part of this. I agree. She's talking about what is seen is not always real.
Yeah.
She's talking about something operation in nature. IQ is a canker, as he put. I did not spell anything right. I should know this. I played Hamlet. Is that she's the one from the Insidious movies?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, which I've never seen, but I know I looked up her IMDb because I'm like, I've seen her in so many different things. I wanted to have a list of stuff she was in.
Yeah, she's
also in Critters. She's also in she's known for being like quirky and creepy old ladies now.
Yeah, I think she's dead now.
Is she?
Yeah, I think she's dead.
Well, that'd be very sad.
I'm pretty sure she's dead. We'll look it up. We'll look it up on the break.
Yeah.
But so she's making a parallel between like the grave diggers, and they're trying to get below the surface, and then they go into Julius Caesar from Hamlet. Nancy's fallen asleep. Tina's in the body bag, calling her name right next to her at the desk. That's how I feel. And there's a guy reading Julius Caesar, and now she's reading it like really creepy and like whispering it too. Mom, I'm in a movie.
All I kept thinking was, imagine just a whole play. An entire performance of Shakespeare where everyone just whispered it in a creepy voice.
I think that's been done.
Really?
I'm not saying it should have been done, but think about all over the past like over 400 years, how many people have done Shakespeare. I'm sure it's been done.
I wrote, by the way, that what do you call it? Nancy dozes off because Shakespeare is being read, not performed.
That's brilliant. Amen. That's exactly what it is.
Yeah.
That's exactly what it is.
So she starts following the trail of blood that Tina's body bag left. And so here's also a thing I wrote in here. Why do we do shit like this in our dreams? You ever wonder about that? Like, why do we? Because
do really stupid shit.
Yeah, like in real life, like, like if anyone who had died, if they suddenly you saw them in a body bag in the fucking hallway with a long trail of blood behind them, I don't think you'd follow them.
Most likely not.
But in a dream, all of us do it. All of us.
Well, you never know if it's like if it's your best friend. If I was following you around in a body bag, no, you wouldn't follow me around. Never mind. You would not follow. You'd be like, Chelsea, this is fucked up. Stop playing. Do I need to call your mom?
Yeah. So like, I wonder why we all do it in dreams. Every one of us.
Yeah.
Like we all do stupid shit that would be like, I'm going to go, we're all like, hey man, don't go into the basement when we watch a horror movie. But in our dreams, we all go into the fucking basement.
I love basements.
Like
creepy attic.
it's fascinating. It's also fascinating to me the fact that we don't have any idea what dreams are. The movie goes into this.
Yeah, I thought
But
that
it's-
was brilliant too.
It's 40 something years later. We still have no idea what they are. We still don't know. You know what I mean? Like science has not made any progress on
Yeah.
what dreams actually are.
I mean, that's. I mean, we don't even know if that's true. And people, I think a lot of it is like, people who theorize about something and then decide that they're experts on it and then write a book about it, and we're just supposed to accept that as fact.
Well,
You
I
know?
mean, that's the thing is people have theories, but there is no one scientific thought. I actually love, and this is the one that you haven't seen for, the reasons that you told me for the second Doctor Strange movie.
Mm-hmm.
But there's a concept of what dreams are that I absolutely love the idea of in that movie. That dreams are literally just you traveling into an alternate universe version of yourself.
Well, that would be awesome.
And seeing out the eyes of just another version of yourself in another universe.
That would be really cool.
Which basically means that, and even with your most severe, and the reason that's why you can't control shit most of the time.
Mhm.
That's why you do stupid things, because you're just a passenger.
Yeah.
In that person's body as these things happen. And it's also why you wake up before you die in a dream, because you're just seeing another version of you, their last moments.
Interesting.
Which is so fascinating. I saw the movie and I'm like, oh my God, I actually kind of hope that's true. That would be amazing.
This sounds great. I like this idea.
Yeah, like you're literally just traveling the multiverse when you're dreaming.
I mean, that'd be awesome.
Yeah, and
I
it's
would really
why
like that.
it's also why you also some versions are very mundane, because there's literally just billions and trillions of versions of yourself out there in all the different universes.
I mean, that would be really, really nice, because then there's no death.
Well, there is for each one of us, but not, but the other idea being, by the way, that other versions of you sometimes dream the shit that we're doing.
Yeah.
Which is
like this podcast right now.
Yeah, but you know what I mean? Like, that's so fascinating. Like, I imagine there's like some Chelsea who lives in I don't know, a post-apocalyptic nuclear wasteland. Like, yeah, I had that dream again. I was doing a podcast and I had dogs. It was really nice. I wish life was like that. You know what I mean? Like it's just, I don't know. It's so crazy. It also means that there's some fucked up alternate universes out there from the shit that I've seen in my dreams.
Oh yeah, same. I'm like, God, and I wake up from a dream and I'm like, God, I'm fucked up. Fuck.
I have seen the world end dozens of fucking times in my dreams, and it makes me wonder, if that was true, how many fucking worlds have ended? You know what I mean? It's just, I don't know. It's why I write the shit I do. So
that makes sense.
So she's following, and she runs into the hall monitor. Who,
hey, Nancy. Hall path.
No running in the hallways with the Freddy Krueger glove, the sweater.
Running in the hallway. I wonder who that actress was. I hope she's doing well.
So
I care about the little people.
Yeah, so she follows the bad gown to the boiler room. We see Freddy's watching her, and at one point, when he shows himself, he cuts himself open. There's maggots and slime under his chest, and
that was really appetizing.
Yeah, she can't go back the way she came because there's a wall there, and he corners her. And it occurred to me, by the way, and it never occurred to me before in watching this, if he killed her right there, it would change the entire movie, not only because our lead just died, but he would have killed her in a public place with dozens of witnesses.
Mm-hmm.
Would have exonerated Rod.
Yep.
And it also would have exposed this whole fucking thing, what's going on.
Yep.
Yeah,
right.
So really, Nancy's very selfish for not taking one for the team.
Come on, Nancy, do better.
Yeah, she burned herself on the hot pipes and starts freaking the fuck out.
Well, I think she did that in order to wake herself up, which worked. Yeah. Thank God. That's something that I'd probably do. That's when you think there's no other option.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of a good call.
What I do appreciate though is that they actually like seem to be pretty understanding that she has a lot of PTSD to work on.
Yeah.
So they're kind of like, all right, you head home. You know,
But this is the thing that bothered me too, is that like, wait, in the 80s you could just get up and leave class, like, and just leave school. You have to have like parents' permission when I was growing up. Like they have to call and make sure that you can leave.
No. If there was a special case like that, they would let the person leave.
See, I feel like someone with PTSD, you should not let them leave unless the parents are there, you know? I was like, okay, this teacher's just obviously freaked out. It's like, get the fuck out of here. Which I didn't blame her, but she did handle it very well. You know?
So and then she's speaking to Rod behind bars. This is the thing that I thought was weird, that they're just letting her go in and visit this dude.
Yeah.
In prison.
Like, I would like, and I think he's also just like still at a holding cell too. You know, he's not even
he's in jail.
prison
He's in
yet.
jail. Yeah, he's in jail.
Yeah, the like in the precinct itself, it seems. Like I think that her father would never let her do that.
Yeah, so I was kind of surprised that they'll just like, yeah, it's totally cool for you to go visit your friend who murdered your other friend. Go and do that.
Like, and not like think like have like start a conspiracy that like she was in on it or something. You know.
So basically, this just exists to kind of describe Freddy a little more and kind of link the nightmares they've had. So we go to her taking a bubble bath while singing the Freddy song. And she dozes off in the bath, which I'm just like, you know, even if there's not a man coming at you in your dreams with fucking nightmare claws, you're gonna die, Nancy.
Yes, and I mean, her mother even says it, like, don't fall asleep in there, you could drown.
Yeah. You know, I love the shot where she's in the fucking bathtub and her legs are spread and the fucking Freddy claw comes up right between her legs.
It's a great shot.
Yeah, like the fins and jaws or something like that.
It's the fins and jaws.
And he starts reaching for her until her mother wakes up and her mother trying to give her warm milk.
Yeah, warm milk is yucky.
Which Nancy even says.
Oh, yes, that's true.
Warm milk, gross.
See, I like milk, but
you know. Well, no, she says it, yeah, and I wrote, seriously though, Nancy, even without the dream demons, this shit is dangerous.
Yeah, she fucking does it again. He pulls her under, and the bathtub gets a lot bigger under the water.
Which, once again, I absolutely love this. There was actually that bathtub was actually put on top of a swimming pool.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, they built the set of the bathroom on top of the swimming pool.
I love that. And
they had like a little thing that Nancy was on. You know, like a little board, and then when she gets pulled in, they pulled the board out.
Oh.
Yeah, and then when she's in there, the nude woman that Freddy is pulling down is a stunt double. But whenever it's like whenever we see her like struggling in the bathtub, that's Heather Langenkamp. Yeah.
Cool. I love finding out how people do shit like that.
Who, by the way, I did name our protagonist in Bishop's Cove after her.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. So, basically, Freddy's trying to drown her. She finally gets out. But I so love the shot of like the fucking just infinite ocean under the bathtub.
It's really cool. It's
so
really,
fucking
really
brilliant.
clever.
Yeah. So she puts on a towel and she says she just slipped in the bathtub. And then she gets her very clearly labeled stay awake fast pills.
Oh, yeah.
Do not appear to be working.
No, they don't. I mean, like, you know, we've been there where it's just like all of a sudden your body's like, nope, you have to stop.
You know.
Yeah.
So she's watching Evil Dead on TV, which was actually done on purpose. Because of the Hills Have Eyes poster in Evil Dead. It was Wes Craven's little nod back to Sam Raimi.
Oh, we love this.
Yeah, so
that's great.
Johnny Depp's outside her window. He sneaks in to see her, and I love her saying, "Yeah, sometimes
thank you for not pooping on my bed, Johnny. Thank you.
Sometimes I wish you didn't live across the street."
Oh,
which, by the way,
that?
Yes, which by the way is a really nice way to give the audience the information of where he lives.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Totally. And he says, so I heard you freaked out in English class. I haven't slept. Where'd you burn your arm in English class? Because that doesn't make any sense. And she looks at herself in the mirror. She said, "Oh God, I look 20 years old." And I went, "Fuck you."
Yeah, I just wrote, one day you'll wish that was the case. Okay.
So funny.
And she asked, "Do you believe in the boogeyman?" Which I totally forgot she had ever asked, and now I was just like, "Oh man, now Michael Myers is going to get involved."
That'd be cool.
Yeah. So, she's going to go look for Freddy, and she wants Johnny Depp to stand guard and watch over her.
Yes, yes. And a lot depends on this. Here's what we're gonna do. It's not what you're thinking. I love that line too.
Yeah. So Tina is obviously dreaming because she's walking around the neighborhood barefoot in her PJs.
You've never done that? I've done that.
Really?
Yeah.
No, you're kidding.
No, I have. Sometimes I'll just be like, I don't want to put shoes on.
That's such a great. Well, Jesus Christ! Have you ever had like ringworm or some shit?
No.
Your
No, to be
audio
fair,
just
I've never
popped
done
out.
it in
Your
the
audio
city.
is gone.
My audio's gone.
Hello?
That's not good. I'm right here.
Let's take a break. Let's take our break now because I can't hear.
You can't hear?
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, then let's take our break now. Okay.
Okay.
All right. So we're gonna take a break, people, while I figure out our audio issues, and we'll be back in 2 and 2.
You are Heather Lambert, right?
Yeah.
Did you know a Catalonia Silver a number of years ago?
Who's that?
I'm afraid that Catalonia passed away recently. In her will, she requested her remains be scattered by you and her parents.
You brought our baby back home to us.
Tell me about my sister.
And why are you here?
Fuck this shit.
I'm the one who started
All right, we're back. Yeah, I had a little technical difficulties with my AirPod. Unfortunately, I only have the one ear, so unfortunately, it wouldn't really matter if that one was working.
That makes sense. And I took the opportunity to eat down a bunch of pepperoncinis, and now my mouth is on fire. So this will be really fun.
Yeah. So so Chelsea was just telling us that she gets ringworm frequently because she walks around town without shoes. And so she's going to the police station, and then Freddy kind of goes through the bars.
Yes.
And I kind of love how he lifts up like Glenn's blanket, like he's going to go and see how many letters he can write on Rod's boner.
I thought the exact same thing. I thought that was funny.
Exactly. So Tina's in the body bag behind Nancy. She opens her mouth and centipedes come out, and she appears to poop a whole bunch of snakes.
That's what we do.
I mean, that's really what that effect looked like. It looked like she shit snakes.
Yes. You don't shit snakes? I'm confused.
Apparently they used a fake version of her head because they tried to have her spit out a fake centipede and it looked fake. So they had to give her a fake version of her of her head, and then they put a real centipede in that.
That was a real centipede?
Yeah, that was a real centipede.
Where the fuck did they just randomly get centipedes? Because that was a large centipede. That was a
and in fact, it actually got lost on set for the day, and they were trying to find it.
Wow.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
So Freddy jumps out from behind the bushes. He's chasing Nancy. She goes up. She runs up the stairs, and I love the fucking squishy pancake stairs. I love that effect so fucking much.
That's actually a kind of a cool band name, Squishy Pancake Stairs.
No, it isn't. But
Yes, it is.
so
Yes, it is.
yeah, she runs into her room. Glenn's sleeping. Like, this is a dream. He isn't real. And then he jumps through the mirror, and they tussle. And they tussle. And there's feathers everywhere because he
Destroying the pillows.
yeah. And then she wakes up, and the alarm clock wakes her up. And my first thought was, yeah, I guess her warm milk has probably gotten cold.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Because
The only time that warm milk is... Oh, there is. Yeah, you're right.
yeah, there's a glass of milk right next to the alarm clock.
The only time that warm milk is acceptable is if you're putting hot chocolate in it. Like, that is it. Or if you're trying to destroy the fire that's in my mouth because of all the peppers I just ate.
I always just put milk into the hot chocolate already. I don't warm up the milk. So
Really?
yeah.
So you make hot chocolate with water?
Yeah, and then you put milk into it. Yeah.
That's fucking weird. It's so much better with just milk, I promise you.
Yeah.
So crazy.
Anyway, so basically Glenn was supposed to be watching her, and he fell asleep because Glenn is kind of useless in this movie.
He is kind of useless. He's also just like, I'm like you had one job, bro.
Yeah. So they run to the police station, and here's where Freddy makes Rod look like he hung himself.
Yeah, it was so interesting too. This weird little snake hanging sheet thing. Like, I don't know. It was cool. I wonder how they did that in the 80s.
I assume a lot of it was with either wires, or they shot it backwards, or
Yeah.
a lot of that sort of stuff.
Peanut, what do you think about this?
Yeah,
she has no opinion.
She's just gonna move her ears.
And then Gert. She's
Aw.
no opinion.
Oh my god.
Oh, I'm just sleepy chicken.
So now they're at the funeral of accused murderer Rod, which the priest is kind of talking shit about him during the eulogy.
He is. I hate it. Then you notice there's no funeral for Tina.
Yeah.
There's no funeral.
Yeah.
I'm like, is it because she's still hanging in the morgue because it's under investigation? But you never see the funeral for Tina.
Yeah, I don't know. It's kind of weird. And here's where she describes the killer to her parents, and they freak out. They freak out because they obviously know what
who it is.
Yeah, who it is. They take her to the Kacha Institute, where Dr. Roger Rabbit is there to test her out. So yeah, that actor did the voice of Roger Rabbit.
Oh, I thought you were making fun of him for some reason.
No, that's actually the voice of Roger Rabbit. That actor.
That's cool.
Yeah.
What? Do you have to take a shit or something? Can you wait a little bit? Thank you. I love you.
Yeah. So
Yes.
hopefully it's not snakes.
Hey, what have you been eating while mommy was driving earlier today? Here, settle down. Here we go. Okay, and we're settled.
Yeah. So here's the part where basically Nancy has a dream that we don't see, and it's funny because I never thought of this as just a civilian, but now as a filmmaker, doesn't this feel like a dream sequence that they couldn't afford, that they cut out?
Absolutely. But I thought it was that, but it was also showing off her talent.
Like it's not a bad scene at all, but it really feels like in the script there's a dream here that we just don't see because they couldn't afford to shoot it. Because
that's the most logical explanation.
Yeah. Like, you don't think of that when you're just a regular person watching this, but now as filmmakers, this 100% feels like there was a scene that got cut.
Yep.
Yeah.
A scene that never existed.
Yeah. So, lots of crazy shit happens with like the little, I don't even know what you call it, but like the little Geiger counter earthquake thingy that measures her dream activity.
Yes, the thing that measures her brainwaves. Yeah.
And she comes.
I'm like
back
seismograph. I would go seismograph. I'm like, Chelsea, that's what actually measures earthquakes. That's not what.
Yeah. She comes back with Freddy's hat, and
which is so cool.
Yeah, and
that's so cool.
So now her mom is just acting so suspicious at this point.
Her mom is acting like super. Oh, we forgot to mention too that the nurse in that scene is her last name is Craven.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't know because like when I paused it on Prime, of course, like everyone's little like names show up, and she's like her last name's Craven too. So I wonder how she's related.
It might have been. It might have been his daughter.
Yeah,
because I know she was on set. She was on set. I don't know. I've never met her. My dad knew Wes Craven, obviously, but I've never. They both passed away before any introduction could be done. Because I had there was this my very first script I ever wrote. My dad he had asked Wes Craven if he would read it, and then like Wes Craven like died pretty much like a month later. So
it was your script. It killed him because it was too good, and he was jealous.
Yeah, honestly, I don't even think it's one of those things where when you look back at your older script, I don't even think it's a particularly good script, but you know, it's one of those things when you just look back at your own shit.
Yes, that makes sense.
Maybe he's just like, this kid has so much potential and he hasn't reached it yet, and then he died.
And then he died. Yeah, that's exactly he died thinking about your script. That's a cool thing to think about though.
I will say that Freddy Krueger, I find it very convenient that he wrote his name into the script, into the hat.
Yes.
That did seem like, well, gee, that saved us a lot of potential exposition.
Figuring out who it was, yeah, because you could just spent the next couple of movies like figuring out exactly what his name was.
Yeah, so here's where her mom explains that who Freddy Krueger was.
Yes, and she brings her down to a fucking furnace in order to do so. Which is just like, this mom, like, I don't know, this mom's got some problems. She's definitely got some issues.
Well, she's super fucking drunk, like.
Yeah, she's drunk pretty much the whole time. I'm like, I'm sorry that your husband left you, but you gotta like rise above the ashes. Get it? Haha, ashes because they're in a furnace.
I was also thinking to myself, by the way, whenever they show the front door and that it's 1428 Elm Street, I'm like, boy, I guarantee you, if we ever do horror trivia, that's a question.
1428 Elm Street, like if we went to a bar and did random trivia.
Yes. Yeah, I guarantee you, and whenever there's horror trivia nights, that's a question that probably comes up in every single one of them.
Yeah, no, probably. I've never been to a horror trivia. I feel like you would be like wasted because you'd win the $50 bar tab and be like, I'm gonna do this all myself. I'm not sharing it with any of you. You would be nothing without me with this.
So her mom explains about Freddy was a child murderer who killed 20 kids in the neighborhood.
That's a lot of kids.
Yeah, and he got away with a technicality. And then the parents tracked him down in an abandoned boiler room and burned it down. And then it's just like, wait a minute, you don't just find a boiler room by themselves. Usually they're part of a building.
They're part of a building, and it makes me think that, like, I don't know. So I guess maybe the theory that, like, Nancy had an older sister, that makes sense then.
Yeah.
That's where they found her or something.
Yeah.
I don't know.
So, he's dead because mommy killed him, and I even took his knives. Which I'm like, wow, this is quite a confession. You're just laying on your teenage daughter now.
And you're like tampering with evidence, and you're questioning your daughter's fucking like sanity too. Like,
yeah, you've been gaslighting her this entire movie, and now you're, confessing to murder.
You're confessing to murder. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
But maybe that's why the dad left her.
Yeah.
You never know.
No, I once I heard that originally there was a scene because they shot the scene. It's just not in the movie.
I want to see it.
Yeah, no, it's only on the Laserdisc version. It's never been released on any DVD or Blu-ray.
We got to find the Laserdisc version.
Well, I don't know anyone with a Laserdisc player.
I don't even know what that is.
It's in the late 80s, early 90s, before DVDs became like a thing, there were laser discs. They are like literally the size of a fucking LP. And it was better quality than regular
than a VHS. Okay. Yeah. Interesting.
But they were the type of thing that like my dad didn't even own one. And my dad had all the latest technology, and he didn't even fucking have a Laserdisc player.
Weird. I bet you could still get them online somehow.
They're probably is super expensive, though. I mean,
Yeah.
they only made them for a couple years, which means they'd be rare.
Yeah. No, that's true.
Yeah.
I'm gonna look it up later.
Yeah. So basically, Glenn's watching his tiny TV, and
I love it. Like at a certain point, Glenn has the fucking TV on his groin with nothing
Yes.
underneath it. I'm like, that shit gets hot. I used to have one of those. Like,
Yeah.
you can no.
Well, that's how I know for a fact that there were guys who got testicular cancer because they would do that with like little televisions, and the constant radiation on their balls would literally eventually give them cancer. Yeah.
And here we are now, like always having our MacBooks on our laps and stuff.
Oh, I'm sure these things are all fucking awful for us.
Yeah.
I'm positive.
Yeah, I'm good
Especially-
now. I have like the little lap desk, so it's not directly on my
Yeah.
balls.
But especially with how hot these fucking things get. Like
Oh,
this
it's true.
is yeah. Like I purposely try to only put my and I'm sure, stomach cancer would be so much better than testicular cancer, but
Mhm.
I try to only have my laptop on my stomach.
Smart. Yeah,
Yeah.
you're pretty good about that.
Yeah.
I always thought you
Yeah.
were weird for that, but now I understand the reasoning.
Yeah,
behind
no,
it.
it's purposely for cancer reasons.
You are a cancer research person now. Yes, it's for
So
cancer
Nancy,
research.
so Nancy at this point says that she's going to go and try to bring Freddie out of her dreams, but she says she's been awake for 7 days.
For 7
And-
days, but it says the day record is 11. She says.
Yeah, but my
And she's-
whole
Go ahead.
here's my thing is here's where I know Wes Craven has never been awake for any number of days
Yeah.
because
Go ahead.
you and I have both on our own occasions been awake for several days.
Mm-hmm.
And you start hallucinating. You start having audio hallucinations after about 2 days,
And then hallucinating actual
and
things
then
after 3.
visual hallucinations after 3.
Yep,
If Nancy had
been
been
there.
awake, for 7 days, she'd be a fucking basket case.
Yep, 100%, 100%.
Yeah.
I mean, like the fact that she's like probably 15 years old, I'm like, that's your only saving grace because I'm like, God, I've been up for 72 hours. Wish I
Yeah.
looked that good when I was up for 72 hours. Like, are you kidding me? She looks great.
Yeah, no, I've gone longest I've ever gone without food was 14 days. Longest I've ever gone without sleeping was 72 hours.
Yeah, no, I've
Like, yeah, and
food. I've probably done 72 hours. I've gone without sleep for like I think four nights.
yeah,
Yeah.
but you're a fucking bad, especially if it's not like drug related. Like she's not even high.
Yeah,
Like it's completely different if you're on drugs for 3 days to when
Mhm.
you are just awake for 3 days because of stress
Mhm.
or like the fucking constantly giving yourself the fucking pills she's taken. She would be a literal basket case. Like she would be like seeing Freddie coming out from fucking under her bed before she's even asleep.
Oh yeah, 100%, 100%.
Yeah.
There'll be nights where like I'm up for one night now, and I'm like I start hallucinating shit. Like I'm like I
Yeah.
thought that Monkey the cat was just like asleep. Like she's in the corner of my eye, and I'm like, oh, she's actually in her basket, like sleeping.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Nancy would be the giant Nancy. There's no way Nancy could be as calm and as like,
Driven.
like, yeah, Nancy would be a fucking lunatic after 7 days without sleep.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. So she wants Glenn to beat up Freddie, and I just keep thinking, well, this is not a good plan in any way.
But she even just says like, I know you're next, and I'm like, so you're gonna throw him in the line of fire?
Mhm.
Like you're just gonna like just destroy him anyway. Like I know you're next, so you might as well fight him.
Yeah. So I do love how Nancy has an extra coffee pot under her bed.
I thought that
Um,
was hilarious because the mom took away the coffee pot.
Yeah, yeah,
And she has an
that's-
extra coffee pot.
Yes, even though keeping a coffee pot under your bed is kind of a giant fire hazard.
It's a huge fire hazard. I even wrote that down. I was like, my mom would say this is a fire hazard.
Yes. Yes. So meanwhile, Glenn's dad is outside drinking a beer, watching her. You know what
Yeah.
I think? I think that kid's some kind of lunatic or something.
And you think about it, like, obviously, like, of course they've grown up across the street from each other, but based on their relationship, you'd think that they've been together for a while. So,
Mhm.
and which gives the indication that they were like really cool and probably loved Nancy because she was a good kid. And then all of a sudden,
Yeah.
Nancy's friends start dying, and then she's a lunatic.
Hmm.
I don't know. Parents do better.
I don't want that kid hanging out with our son anymore.
Yep. It makes me
Yeah.
sad.
So two things that I notice here. Number one, I've had alcoholics in my family. I don't know if I've ever had alcoholics that were so bad they were hiding vodka behind the towels.
I know several. Oh my God, dog fart. Ooh. Whoa.
Really?
Please.
Really?
Wow. Gertrude.
Okay.
Holy shit. That's flammable. Gert, that was really bad. She's like, pet my belly.
That's why it happened, Mother. You didn't pet it more.
You did not pet. Okay. Is it passing? I don't know.
Well, speaking of
Okay,
things that are not passing, at this point, Nancy's wounds are not healing well.
No, they're not. She's healing like I do, which is not healing.
But yeah, no, I'm fascinated by this. You've actually known people who would like hide like vodka like in like behind the
100%.
towels and stuff like that.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Definitely.
Yeah, like all the alcoholics I've ever lived with, all were very open about it. Like there would just be like 100 bottles of vodka in like the fucking kitchen or closet or something.
Oh no. And someone I'm really close with, just constant, under the sink, underneath the desk, like behind
Really?
the hamper. Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yeah.
I've never experienced that. But
Yeah.
okay. Well, Nancy goes to call Glenn and his mom answers, and then his dad picks up the phone. It's like, Glenn's asleep. You're just gonna have to call back tomorrow.
And then he unplugs the fucking thing
Mhm.
so the dial tone is going, and I'm like, that's just gonna run your electricity bill up, bro.
You know,
Like, do you not want for money? Because that's
I
just
mean,
silly.
we used to do that all the time, though. If we didn't want anyone to call us, we would just put the phone off the hook. It was a
Really?
common thing in the 80s. Yeah,
Okay.
very common, very common. So Nancy gets angry. She pulls the fucking phone out of the wall and rips her fucking cord. And then I kind of love, and so many movies do it, but it's still kind of neat. But you can't do it now, where the phone rings even though it's been disconnected.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I love that too. I love that,
Yeah.
but I also love the moment right before that where she freaks out, thinking, "What if Glenn tries to call?"
Yeah.
But
we've truly lost. This is one of like the things we lost in horror with cell phones. Because
you're right.
we can't do that. I mean, and it's not the same effect if, oh no, it has no battery, but it still rang.
It isn't the same effect.
That isn't the same effect at all.
Mm-mm.
Yeah. So
No, you're right.
So she picks up the phone and she goes, "I'm your boyfriend now, Nancy." And then Freddie's tongue reaches out to lick her face, which I thought, well, maybe that is one of the hallucinations she's getting from not sleeping.
I really love that, because it comes right through the phone.
Yeah.
I thought that was really, really clever. And yeah, no, I had that same thought. I was like, she's definitely hallucinating.
Yeah.
Doesn't make any sense. But that's cool. You can't do that anymore either. It doesn't make any sense, and or it doesn't have the same effect if it comes through a cell phone.
Yeah. It's like that'd have to be a very tiny tongue to come through.
A tiny tongue come through a cell phone. I still have back at my dad's house, we still have a phone like that.
Yeah.
Like a home phone number, a wired cord. Yeah. It's still a thing. Also, if you hear anything random right now, it is my dog snoring and farting.
So she tries to run out, and her mom is drunk off her ass, saying, "You're gonna get some sleep tonight if it kills me." So her mom locked the doors and everything, and
she put 4 locks on the door.
Yep.
And she put bars on her window. We forgot
Yep.
to mention that. Yeah.
So can I mention how much I kind of love that the station that Glenn is watching is KRGR Kruger.
Oh, I didn't put that together.
Yeah, and Glenn gets pulled into the bed. Apparently in the R-rated version, I mean the not the R-rated version because this is the R-rated version. In the television version, his skeleton pops out of the bed too and shatters on the ceiling, but I don't recall ever seeing that. Yeah.
No, that didn't happen.
Yeah. Although he does, as I said, bleed. I mean, they use 500 gallons of blood here. So it's like, enough blood for many, many people.
Many other peoples.
Yeah.
Other peoples.
And I love how you won't need a stretcher here. You'll need a mop when the
Oh my! I thought that
called.
made me fucking crack the fuck up. Like I cackled. I thought that was hilarious because it's true.
And the cops putting buckets under
like things of blood that are coming from like on the first floor, things that are seeping through the floor.
Yeah.
On the second floor. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's nuts.
Yeah.
It's nuts. And meanwhile, like Nancy's just like she already knows what happened.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Nancy just in the most incredibly calm way possible for someone who has been awake for 7 days. That's the other thing. If you've been awake for fucking 1 day, an alarm clock is not going to wake you up.
No.
So you've been awake for 7 days. You would sleep through the goddamn fucking Battle of 1812 outside your fucking window.
Tchaikovsky's outside your window being like, cannon!
Yes, exactly. I told you about me and my old roommate made a ball busting video to that, right?
Yes.
Yeah. We
should.
We were just really bored and we just downloaded a whole bunch of like ball busting porn and we edited it. So every time like the cannons would go, it would be like a guy getting kicked in the balls.
Brilliant. Yes. I have yet to see this, but I still want to. Yeah.
Oh, we made this a long time ago. I made it in like fucking Windows fucking movie or some shit like that back in the day.
Windows.
Yes.
Windows. That's so sweet.
So at this point, Nancy does the trap setup montage, which Wes Craven really loves doing because he also did it in Last House on the Left.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And it's also like you wouldn't have been that clever, I feel like, after being awake for 7 days. Like you wouldn't have been able to figure out the whole hammer hanging from the ceiling, all this shit.
Well, I mean, she did have like the little book about improvised weapons and shit like that.
Oh, right. That's would you even be able to read after not sleeping for 7 days? That's the question.
The other thing I think of is she got an awful lot of shotgun shells for a 15-year-old.
She did.
Yeah.
It's the 80s. Her dad's a lieutenant.
Yeah, exactly. So it's
she goes to see fucking like expected like people arrested for murder without any questions asked.
Yeah. The other thing I keep thinking of is she's setting all these traps up around the house, and I'm like, good thing she doesn't live with someone like her mother who could drunkenly wander around and set these traps off.
Oh yeah, totally. But her mom's drunk on the couch at this point, right?
But drunks do sometimes get up and wander around the house, and it'd be an awful weird thing for her to be like, oh no, I set up a sledgehammer outside the door that my mom got her fucking rib cage crushed from.
Whoops, it wasn't me. It was Freddy.
Yeah. So, all right. Okay, Kruger, we play a New York Court, which is the only line in this movie that I really fucking hate.
I figured you'd hate that.
Yeah. So she goes to bed and she does the Now I Lay Me Down to Sleep prayer, which I've actually never done, even when my grandmother used to make me pray as like a young Catholic boy.
Yeah, it's a thing. I did it when I was really, really young. That's what we used
to do the Hail Mary and the Lord's Prayer, but we never did the Now I Lay Me Down to Sleep thing.
Yeah. That was like I was like a little.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So she now is in the dream world. She is checking the furnace. Freddy's glove is gone. There's a door that wasn't there before, and it takes her to Freddy's boiler room. And and now we hear a lot of review dialogue, which I'm sure was put in after people were confused in
order to explain what's going on.
Yeah, because there's so much review dialogue here that this had to have been a note.
Yeah,
from people who were confused about what's going on at this point in the movie.
Sorry, Gert's dreaming. Her mouth and all of her legs are moving. Sorry. Anyway, continue. Yes, there's Freddy in there, Gert.
So I hope not.
I hope not too.
Yeah.
Well, Gert would eat him.
No, she demand pets. And you know what? Knowing, I just imagine like how fucking, you're being chased by Freddy. Gert's there, and Gert is like, "Will he feed me though? If he does, I'm okay." So
She's such a good girl.
she finds Glenn's headphones covered in blood next to the furnace, and
Yes.
she finds herself outside her house after she falls from a very long distance.
Yeah, so she's in a basement and then she's up at her bedroom and she falls through into the trellis that's been knocked down and the bars are gone. She got through the bars somehow. The bars.
So she jumps on Freddy so that he'll be there when she wakes up. And when she wakes up, he isn't there at first, so she starts gaslighting herself immediately.
Yeah, immediately. That's her parents' fault. Her dad said that she'd help her this whole time and he'd help her this whole time and he didn't. Just like bad dad, do better. I'm really happy that my parents aren't cops. That's all I have to say.
Yeah, well, there you go.
Yes.
And then Freddy jumps up from behind the bed.
Yes,
and
he does.
He yells surprise, and then they all have a birthday party for her, and that's the end.
They do, and Gert farts everywhere.
So she hits him with a coffee pot. And why don't you describe this? What's going on from here?
Well, this is, I guess we skipped ahead a little bit. Still trying to find the fucking spot.
Well, she's hit Freddy with a coffee pot. She has this sledgehammer rigged up, and when Freddy opens the door,
he gets hit with a hammer and he falls down the stairs. Come on, Freddy, can't catch me. I'm gonna rip you in two, he says, and she lights him on fire. Pretty much. She throws some of her mom's vodka, I assume, on him and lights a match and lights him on fire. And I really love this too, like how they did this.
This is a higher budget version of the last confrontation in Last House on the Left without the chainsaw. It's pretty much the exact kind of like confrontation. It's him. Oh shit! I have a budget now. Let me do that better.
Yeah. She lights him on fire. Cops suck.
Because she's calling for her dad out the window.
Yeah, and they don't care. Like the guy is just like an idiot. He's just an idiot, and he's just like, maybe I should call for the lieutenant. Like 80 times. It felt like 80 times he had to do that.
Yeah.
So he's covered in flames. She uses the door to push him back down the stairs. Into the basement.
She pushes down Freddy's noticeably bulkier stuntman in protective gear. Who is just engulfed in flames.
Yeah, I was thinking that was like, is he okay?
The thing I kept thinking of is, shouldn't Nancy's house be on fire if there's a person on this much flames, like running around in the basement?
Yes, and I mean it does wind up on fire, right? Yes,
parts of it. Parts of it.
Yeah, it should be the whole. It should. Well, I guess because the dad's a lieutenant, maybe they have like extra strength proof fucking whatever the fuck. I don't know, basement ceiling. I have no idea.
So, go on.
So the cops finally run over. She's still just like screaming. She winds up breaking a bunch of shit. She's just like breaking windows and stuff to be like, hello, I got him, Dad, I did it. I finally got him and all this shit. And they finally show up. They break down the door to the front door that her mom had 4 locks on. Where is Mom at this point? She had gone
upstairs.
to bed. She had gone to
She's
bed
upstairs
from the couch.
Because once they break in and they follow the flaming footsteps upstairs, Freddy's on top of the mom.
I wonder if they like just lit the pancake mix on fire. That'd be really funny. That'd be really clever. The way to save money if it was safe.
No, I think the whole thing would burst into flames, though.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah,
you're right.
Yeah. They couldn't. I think they just found they probably just put little bits of fuel or accelerant on the carpet. They probably found flame retardant carpet.
Yeah.
And then just put like little bits of maybe they even cut it out or something. I don't know.
Interesting.
If we ever have a flaming footsteps, we'll have to figure it out.
So they put together that they're after Mom. and so we see him just like on her mother, like trying
Yeah.
to kill her mother. It's really kind of fucking. So she's covered in flames. I don't, it's fucked up. I don't know. That's kind of really fucked up. Like, I wonder how hard mom had to fight back.
Mom
You know,
wasn't
and
fighting
how,
back
like-
at all because she was drunk. It's like passed
she was
out drunk, it appeared. Yeah.
Oh my God! Gert just woke up from her own fart. Yeah, don't leave me with this. Are you? Look at what she just did.
Yes, she did it and then moved to where it smells better.
Gert. What do you have to say for yourself? I am
You,
Gert.
you deal with it, mother.
You deal with it. You take it right now. Because I'm gonna actually text my neighbor because he's yelling again.
Okay.
But take
So
it.
yeah. So at this point, her mother just seeks into, like, just disappears into the ether in the bed.
Yeah, she does.
Donald has no idea how this happened, and he hugs his daughter, but she's like, "I'm okay. You go downstairs. I'll be there in a minute."
Even because this guy's face never moves. I don't know if he had really good Botox or his face has always been like that. But like when he like goes to hug her, I still have this moment of thinking, what if he still thinks that? What if he still thinks that she's just nuts and he's hugging her for that reason? I mean, it would have been a different like end of the movie, I think, but
Yeah.
it's a possibility.
Well, they shot 2 endings to the movie.
They did.
Yeah.
Oh.
And they had a happy ending, and then where everything was obviously resolved, and then they had this ending.
Well, this one's better, I assume.
Yeah. So she knows how to beat Freddy. The door closes behind her. And then Freddy comes up from the bed. It's where I'm like, God damn, that they get a good deal on the stretchy latex in this movie. And every time they use it, it's effective.
Yeah, it's like one of my favorite effects in this whole thing for sure.
Yeah.
That and the maggots.
Yeah. So, well, those are just real all fucking maggots they use there.
Oh, really? They use real maggots?
Yeah, yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. One of our makeup people, I'll just say, I don't know if she wants to mention or not, but not Shannon, but one of our makeup people even once asked, like, "Hey, do you ever need a bunch of roaches and things? Because I have a bunch of roaches." And I'm like, "No, it's quite all right. I will not have just random roaches running free on my set." So
yes. If there were a way to contain them, yes, but no.
But she has roaches, and she also has maggots that if we ever need them, yeah.
That's cool. Good to know.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I am hungry.
Well, there you go. You get some protein from them because pound grasshoppers have more nutrition than steak, actually.
I heard that.
Yeah.
I think I heard that from you.
Yeah. So, Freddy's like, "Now you die," and she's like, "It's too." She turns her back on him, and it's like, "It's too late, Krueger. I know the secret now. This is just a dream. You're not alive. This whole thing is just a dream. I want my mother and friends back," because obviously she thinks he's a genie. And I take back every bit of energy I gave you. You're nothing. You're shit. And he tries to stab her, but she grabs a doorbell and he disappears into a scream.
Yes, and he like dematerializes into like a bunch of stars and stuff, which I thought was kind of neat.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was kind of cool.
It's bright and nice out, and her mom is sober now. It's fascinating. This is the most dream-looking sequence of the entire movie.
I'm like, this is Little House on the Prairie. This is Gone with the Wind.
Like, all of Nancy's dead friends are in a car. She gets in. I love that it's convertible with the red and green like Freddy pattern.
Yes.
On the roof. By the way, and originally Freddy was going to be driving, but apparently I think that either Wes Craven didn't like that, or the DP didn't like it, or they shot it and it didn't work. So I'd
like to think it was I'd like to think that it just didn't work and they shot it anyway. So somehow that footage is out there somewhere.
Yeah. So the windows close up by themselves. Nancy screams, and then meanwhile Freddy reaches through the window of the house, pulls Marge in, and it's literally the most fake-looking body they could have possibly pulled in, but somehow that works.
It did. No, it did work. It was like a dream Marge body. Yeah, I thought it was funny but clever at the same time.
Yeah, and we go to the credits because it's a nightmare. No, it's just a
Yes.
dream. No, it's a nightmare.
No, it's not.
So I don't know. It's such an awful fucking song, but it I don't know. It just sticks in your head. There's something catchy about it.
Yeah, you're right.
And that is Nightmare on Elm Street. I will say it's odd to see a movie where the credits end on the special effects assistants.
Yeah, that's weird, right? I noticed that too.
I'm not used to seeing that, but but yeah, that was the film. I really, like I said, I love the Nightmare on Elm Street films. I would love to write a Nightmare on Elm Street film. And speaking of films that I have written,
Yes.
even though it is October, if it were December, next week on December 16th, you can see the film that I wrote and directed, and Chelsea and I produced. And Chelsea is a big old creepy demon in it.
Yes. Oh, Bishop's Cove.
Yep.
Yes.
Tell the folks about that a little bit, Chelsea.
Tell all the folks about that. So Bishop's Cove is going to be screening at the Film Noir Cinema in Brooklyn, which is really, really exciting.
122 Messerall Avenue.
Yes, and that is going to be on Saturday, December 16th, because that's not next week, but it's next week. At 9 p.m. And
if you are watching this on December, I don't know, just for conversational purposes, let's say December 9th.
yes,
If you were watching it on that date, then it's a week from now.
yes,
Even though
yes.
it's October and it's obviously a month away from when we are recording.
Yes,
So-
and you can check a little QR code, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, in order to it's a QR code.
Right there, QR
It is.
code. Chelsea, do not give oral to the QR code, please.
No, I didn't. But yeah, to get tickets, or you can get them online, and you can find all that on our socials and stuff. But please come. We're really excited to have a limited theatrical release, and then see where we go after New York. Might be coming to a
Exactly.
city near you.
Exactly. It's a very limited theatrical release. This will be our only New York screening. And you should note there's only a certain amount of tickets. So you should order today. Because once they're gone, and there's no more seats for you.
Yeah. You get nothing. You lose. Good day, sir.
Yes, exactly.
Willy
And
Wonka.
it's only like $14.64. So it's a pretty good deal.
It should be. How funny would it be if it was, what is it? The fucking, if the price was the number
$14.28
on Elm Street, yes.
$14.28. Yeah, but it is not. It's $14.64. Let's not confuse the people with other numbers.
Numbers are hard.
But yeah, no. As I said, so this was Wes Craven's Nightmare on Elm Street, and as I said, it's
Thoroughly enjoyable.
One of those classic horror films that I think helped shape the '80s pretty much.
Mm-hmm.
And it's been a big influence on me. I mean, we talk about Bishop's Cove. There's definitely Nightmare on Elm Street elements in Bishop's Cove.
100%.
It's more influenced by Hellraiser, but there's definitely touches of Nightmare on Elm Street in it.
Mm-hmm. And getting to see all of this again for what I view as the first time is I see those things now. I can pick up on those nuances now.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. So that's why you should come see Bishop's Cove.
One of the deleted scenes that we did not shoot, there was the pancake stepping effect. If you remember in the script, one of the scenes where she was walking in the sidewalk starts doing that.
Yeah.
I 100% got that from Nightmare on Elm Street, where I wanted her to do that. But we ended up, that whole scene just ended up being too expensive, so we cut it. But but you get, speaking of scenes that are cut, check out this version of Bishop's Cove, because you'll get to see, if you were there at the one that we did at the end of this month.
Yeah. The premiere.
You'll see that there might be some little extras in there that you didn't see last time. So So Chelsea, where can people find you?
You can find me at Chelsea.Lesage on Instagram. And where can they find you, Sir Charles?
They can't.
No,
they have to come to the screening if they want to find me.
Yes, that's true.
No, so also they can find me on Instagram at charles.d.lincoln.
Yes, where you can also find us together at CL Squared Productions on YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram, and on all of our pages you will be able to find a link to buy tickets to Bishop's Cove.
Yes, exactly. So we want to thank you for listening to us, and then tune in next week for the reboot, starring Jackie Earl Haley, or Haley
Yes.
Earl. I'm not sure which one it is. I guess we'll know next week.
Yes.
Who stars as Freddy in the remake, the 2000 something or other remake of Nightmare on Elm Street.
Yeah. Thank you guys for listening so much. We
Yep.
love you so much.
We'll see you then next time. Bye.
See you next time. Bye-bye.
Jazz hands.
No, Freddy Krueger jazz hands.
Jazz hands.
God.
The show does not end until you do jazz hands, Chelsea.
Okay, fine.
Jazz hands. Bye, everyone. Bye.